And it's a mild day for the South Jersey Disc Golf Ice Bowl at the Ocean County Park Disc Golf Course in Lakewood, New Jersey. To see who will win this tournament on this fun and exciting course, stay tuned as Disc Golf Monthly starts now. Hello and welcome to this month's edition of Disc Golf Monthly. This month takes us to Lakewood, New Jersey at the Ocean County Park Disc Golf Course for the 2018 South Jersey Disc Golf Ice Bowl. We have a fun and exciting tournament today at this event. This is a new course to the show. This is a course that was built in 2013. It was designed and created by the late Carl Cubbage and Frank Gualtieri and also Mike Kime. This is mostly flat and wooded course. It's a mixture. There's some water that plays into the course on two baskets layout positions. The overall distance of the course, the length, is 6,198 feet, and the pro par for this course is 59, and you have 18 disc catcher baskets on the course. The tees are concrete, and it's a very fun and exciting course to play. Let's go right now to see who's going to be playing, as we're going to be featuring the Men's Open on the second round. Let's go to take a look at who we're going to be covering on that second round. We're going to take a look right now. And leading in first place with a 48, we have Mike Moser from Wilmington, Delaware. Following in second place, we have Ryan Frederickson from Manahawkin, New Jersey, shooting a 51. In third place, shooting a 53, we have Dave Humes from Philadelphia, PA. And rounding out the group in fourth place, shooting a 54, we have Mike Carmen from Ottsville, PA. So we're going to have an even mix of varying skill levels and experience on the pro card here, with Mike Moser having the most experience. And we also have Mike Carmen, he's been playing pro for quite a number of years now. A newer player to the scene, but we've seen him before, is Dave Humes. But new to the show is Ryan Frederickson. So we have an interesting mix of players. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back. We're going to see in the second round action who's going to win this tournament today at the Ocean County Park Disc Golf Course for the South Jersey Disc Golf Ice Bowl. Don't go away, we'll be right back. And we're back at the start of the second round at the 2018 South Jersey Disc Golf Ice Bucket Tournament. We see Mike Moser has a 3-stroke lead over Ryan Frederickson as we start off on basket 1. This is a par 4, 600 feet. So what this layout does, you got to go through that opening that Mike just went through, and you play out to an open field, take the dog leg left, and there's a narrow fairway fairway narrows as you approach the basket. Here's Ryan Fredericks with his drive, and he turns it over as he gets down the fairway. He gets through the opening. Here's Dave Humes with his drive. He lets go a little too soon, and he hits a tree. There's Mike Carmen, his first drive. Mike holds on a little too long. He kicks off a tree, but he gets lucky. He makes it through. Awesome. He missed everything to get out in that opening field. Here's Dave Humes. He's going with a lefty shot here. He's going to turn over a sidearm shot. That worked nicely for him.
You're doing good. You're all right.
So he's out in the field as well. There's Mike on his second shot. And as this lands, you see off to the left, he's about, that's about the direction you're looking to head in here. The baskets, it's just tucked up in that corner area at the top of your screen. Here's Dave Humes. He's putting a lot on this. And he is right at the mouth of that opening. Here's Ryan Fredrickson with his second throw. A really powerful arm on Ryan. And Ryan gets a very low shot. He didn't get the skip he was looking for. And Mike's just making a placement shot. It's just going to glide right in there. He'll have a look at a 3 from where he is. And Ryan with his third shot. You see the basket. That just, he had so much on it, it just didn't fade back for him in time. Dave just flips that over nicely. Let's see if it fades back for him, and it does. Mike has some rough to play out from here. He gets through nicely. Here's Mike shooting for birdie. And just didn't have enough distance on that. Faded right in front of the basket. Here's Mike Harmon shooting for par. And he just smacks off the cage. And it's going to be a par for Mike and Ryan as Mike maintains that 3-stroke lead over Ryan, and Dave and Mike both shot bogeys on that. We're moving over to basket 2. This is a par 3 at 390 feet. Mike again has the box. And Mike threw that perfectly.
Right in the middle of it.
The basket is just beyond those trees that Mike's disc landed in. But it did look like Mike's disc dropped out, so.
Oh, flatten it out again. Oh my God.
And Ryan has a very powerful arm. He's going to go far beyond the basket with that drive where, yeah, he went far, well beyond the basket. There's Dave with his drive.
That's okay. There's a gap right there.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
And he hit the gap that you were looking to hit. And here's Ryan. He's playing back. And here you see the basket. Dave has some trees to play around. He's going with a left-handed sidearm shot once again. And he lays right up to the basket. And Mike lays up. Here's Mike shooting for birdie. And we have our first birdie of the round by Mike Harmon. Here's Dave saving par. Goes right into the heart of the chains as Mike putts out for his par. So with Ryan getting that bogey, Mike now has a 4-stroke lead. As we move on to basket 3. This is a par 3, 174 feet. This is a downhill shot. You do have to careful. There is some out of bounds that comes into play here. There's a stream that right in front of the basket. It looks as though Mike may have gone right into that out of bounds area. And now we have Dave Humes. That's a perfect shot. Here's Ryan with his drive.
Shot.
Here we have Mike. He did go out of bounds. He's shooting this to save par, and he makes it right in the heart of the chains. Dave has to play back to the basket to get his birdie. And it just goes a little right on him and does not connect with the chains. Ryan gets his birdie, so he'll get a stroke back on Mike with that putt. And Mike also gets a birdie, so that's 2 birdies for the round for Mike Carmen, as Ryan Freder also gets a birdie, gets a stroke back on Mike. We're moving on to basket 4. This is a par 3, 288 feet. This is a straight shot right to that group of trees you see off to the right.
Slide, baby.
Like this looks like he just didn't have enough turn on that drive. Ryan's going to go with a sidearm. He gets that nice and low. Let's see if he gets a good skip back to the basket, and he does. Looks like he might have went a little too far, but we'll have to see where that his disc is lying. Here's Mike with his drive. Mike got a lot of turn, but he did get a kick at the end. Pushed him towards the basket. And that was a nice shot by Dave. So Mike came up a little short. This is it'll be his 3rd birdie in a row if he makes this. And he just does not make it. It bounces off the cage. Then we have Dave also shooting for birdie. And he just gets that a little too high. Here's Mike Moser shooting for birdie. This will be his first birdie. And he makes it. Ryan Fredrickson also does get a birdie, so there's still that 3-stroke difference between Mike and Ryan as we move on to basket 5. This is a par 3, 237 feet. This is an opening shot. There's a little bit of it that you have to contend with that's off to the right. Ryan goes with the sidearm shot. See if he gets a skip out of this. He's going to roll towards the basket. And here's Mike with his drive. Mike's trying to turn that over. And he does, but it comes out of a little bit at the end, goes away from the basket. Mike Carmen's going with a sidearm. And that comes back towards the basket nicely for him. And then we have Dave. He's looking to turn that over. It is turning, and it just doesn't turn enough. There's Mike looking to get back-to-back birdies. And that just stayed in the air long enough to go in the basket. That's back-to-back birdies for Mike Moser. Here we have Dave with his 2nd shot for birdie. And he just doesn't get enough distance on it. It bounces off the cage. Ryan gets an easy birdie here. And Mike Carmen gets his birdie as well. That's the third birdie for Mike in the round, Carmen. And Ryan and Mike Moser also get birdies, so they're at the same distance. As we move on to basket 6, this is a par 3, 174 feet. This is a shot where you just have to clear that group of trees in front of you to get a spike hyzer shot, which Ryan is trying to do. Let's see. And that does bounce off the basket. That bounced off the top of the basket. It was a near ace right there. There's Mike Moser with his drive. Doesn't get as much height on it, but it does clear that trees. Let's see if it gets back to the basket for him. It's hard to tell. Here's Mike Carmen with his drive. And he does clear that trees. There's the last in the group, Dave Humes. And everybody in the group clears that group of trees. Everybody's close proximity to the basket. Mike has to play around this tree. He's straddling, going with a straddle putt. And he just lofts it out there to get his birdie. So he's back on the birdie train again. Here's Ryan also shooting for birdie. And that's 2 birdies.
Yeah, for sure. Make the new rule.
Okay, now we have 3 birdies. And if Mike can make this, we will have a star frame. And Mike makes it. And there you have it, our first star frame of the round. As Mike still has that 3-stroke lead over Ryan Fredrickson. We're moving on to basket 7. This is a par 4, 466 feet. So there you see the basket just beyond that grouping of trees down there. Looks like Mike's setting up for a roller shot. And he does. Looks like it's not going left soon enough. It's going to get caught up in that grouping of trees to the right of the basket in the front. And here's Mike Carmen with his drive. Goes with a straight shot that's turning over quite a bit. It's going to skip back to the basket for him. Have an open look with his approach shot. Here's Dave Humes with his drive. Dave's going to turn that way over. It's going to go right into that heavy growth that you see with that evergreen tree. It's a very narrow opening he's trying to go through here. And he turns that over. Let's see if it fades back for him. Oh, it just stayed out too long and it kicked off that tray. It looked like it was on its way back to the basket. Here's Mike Harmon with his approach shot. Goes with a sidearm. And that will get him where he can make a putt. And we have Mike. Ryan's going with a sidearm approach shot. And he just kicks off that tree. And he misses his bed. He'll get a par. There's Dave Humes shooting for birdie. It just does stay. It goes up too high. Sails right over the basket. There's Mike shooting for birdie. And he makes it right in the heart of the chains. Dave saves par with that putt. And so with that birdie, Mike now has a 4-stroke lead once again over Ryan Fredrickson. And we're moving on to basket 8. This is a par 3, 187 feet. This is a very tight layout. And Mike just makes it right through there. The basket is just, as you get through this tight grouping of trees, it clears out, and the basket's just beyond that clearing.
Oh yeah, good reaction. Good finish. Good reaction. Good shot. That's what mine was supposed to.
And Mike makes another birdie. That's 5 birdies in a row for Mike. As we have another star frame in the group, everybody gets a birdie. We're moving on to basket 9. This is a par 3, 401 feet. So this is an open shot where as you get towards the basket, you'll have some trees to contend with. You can see the basket's just up ahead there.
Got the old pin. Not bad.
And that turns over on Ryan.
Better, but not what you want.
Hard to tell if Dave intended for that to be a roller, but that's what it ended up doing. Mike's approach shot will get him right there, where he'll be able to make his putt for par from there. And Mike's string of birdies has come to an end. So we still have a 4-stroke difference between Mike and Ryan, with the 4 strokes that Mike has over Ryan. As we move on to basket 10, this is a par 3, 256 feet.
Get some legs. Skip hard.
And Mike's going to throw a low shot that's going to skip right to the basket. And Mike goes with a higher shot. Let's see if this skips for him. It takes a hard edge, and he doesn't get much of a skip off that.
Oh, she's low. Skip. Right, come on, come on.
And Ryan's just looking for that to skip on right to the basket, and it does. It just hugged the ground and kept going.
Get long, get long.
He's going to put that very high in the air.
You probably would have been long. Skip like.
Mike floats that out there and gets the putt. Amazing. Dave Fumes went way beyond the basket to the left. He's playing back, and it just drops out too soon for him. And now he's putting for par. So with that, we have 3 birdies for Mike, Ryan, and Mike Harmon, and Dave Humes gets a par. As we move on to basket 11, this is a par for 575 feet. Looks like Mike is going with a roller for this, and that's going very straight. He just needs to be careful, make sure he stays away from that building there off to the right. The basket is just to the left of that building, a little further beyond it. And it's just a little too low to the ground to get much distance for Ryan. Here's Dave's approach shot. Or rather, a second drive. And he's going to get a lot of turn on that. He may not. Okay, and it kicks off that tree. This is going to be a difficult placement for him. He's going to have to contend with that building as he gets towards the basket. Here's Ryan with his second shot. He's going to go with a sidearm. We have Mike Harmon also going for the sidearm shot. And that is going to fade back nicely for him. We'll see how close he is to the basket. There's Dave with his fourth shot to save par. See if we can do it.
Yeah.
And that was just on the money.
Nice,
right at the center of the change with that putt to save par. Here's Ryan shooting for birdie, and he makes it. This puts a little bit of pressure on Mike.
You were okay.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were pointing.
I don't like people directly on my side.
We'll be back to a 3-stroke lead if Mike doesn't make this birdie, but this is very short. And he makes it. It just skipped over that rim. So once again, we have 3 birdies and a par for Dave Humes, and same distance between Mike and Ryan with that 4-stroke lead for Mike. And we're moving on to basket 12. This is a par 3, 272 feet. So this is a shot. The basket plays off to the right. And Mike just hit that gap that you do want to hit to get right to the basket. There you see the basket. Mike's going to go with a sidearm shot. Mike also hits. Oh, he just goes a little too far. He looked like he was going to hit that gap, but it just kept turning. And Ryan gets in there too early. But he gets lucky, and it looks like he should be close to the basket with that.
one. Woo! Yeah.
Yeah, Mike. Thank you.
Okay, and we're moving on to basket 12. Sorry, this is basket 13. This is a par 3, 379 feet.
Nope, didn't turn enough.
I actually said I got on PS. I said, get not into temptation.
Yeah.
And I pulled that disc out. See, that's what I figured. I was like,
Oh no. Not again.
You did it again. I did too. I did.
That's even worse this time.
Everyone's trying to go with a backhand turnover shot, but it's just fading out for most of them. It looks like he's going with a roller once again.
Yeah.
And it looks like that's working nicely for him. So Ryan goes with his approach shot. Okay, Dave turned out he was a little further away than it appeared. Dave makes his par.
Good play.
Okay, we have pars around. And Mike now still has that 5-stroke lead on Ryan. He advances lead. As we move on to basket 14, this is a par 3, 309 feet. So everyone here is going to go with a backhand hyzer shot. There are some walnut tree up around the basket that has a lot of walnuts that have hit the ground. Players are being careful of that. It's cutting into the ability for the skip shot to disc to skip towards the basket. And Mike gets knocked down early. Brian goes with a low shot, and he bounces right over all those walnuts that are scattered about around that tree. Here's Dave with his drive.
That's right. And the walnuts. Skip off them anyway.
Let's see if he skips through it. He went right in the heart of.
God.
Here's Dave shooting for birdie. And he just makes it in there perfectly. Here's Ryan shooting for birdie. Oh, and it just deflects off the chains and just does not drop into the cage. It's very disappointing. As Mike will pick up another stroke on the group with that. Mike now has a 6-stroke lead, and he's really walking away with this one now. As we move on to basket 15, it's a par 3, 234 feet. So with 4 holes left, Mike has a 6-stroke lead over the group. He goes with a stand and deliver drive, and it kicks off a tree early as it turns a little too much. There's Dave with his drive.
That's it.
Dave also gets a little too much turn and kicks off a tree. Let's see what Mike Harmon has to offer us. He lets go a little too early, and he kicks off an early tree to the left.
Right. Oh, yeah.
And Ryan has the perfect drive of the group. He missed everything on his way to the basket. Mike Carmen also gets knocked down early on his approach shot.
Did.
Ryan ended up going a little too far. He's got to play back. And he just lets that go low. And Mike maintains that 6-stroke lead over the group. As we move on to basket 16, this is a par 4, 434 feet.
Damn it.
This is a tricky fairway. It takes an S-like pattern as you go towards the basket. Mike's drive just didn't turn back soon enough. He got kicked off that tree. Dave does very well off the tee with that drive.
Flip off that.
And Ryan just did not get enough turn on that. It kicked off the tree to the left. And Mike Harmon turned over nicely.
Oh, no, it wasn't.
Missed that tree.
Very nice, Mike.
And it's
Yeah,
fading
Mikey.
back. That is the best shot in the group. Ryan's playing back. He goes with a sidearm and shoots through that gap. He misses everything. He may be close to having a birdie putt. We'll have to see where that leaves him. Mike makes it through that gap. Dave is also going with an approach sidearm shot with his left hand. Ryan has more trouble to play out of, and he just floats that out there. We'll have to see how close that leaves him to the basket. Mike Carmen with his second throw. He just puts that out there in the open, lets it hiders her back, and he should have an easy putt for a birdie. And here's Ryan shooting for par. And he makes it.
Nice save.
There's Mike shooting for birdie. And he makes it. So again, no change with Mike and Ryan both getting those pars. Mike still has a 6-stroke lead over Ryan. As we move on to basket 17, this is a par 3, 168 feet. We have Mike Carmen with his first throw. Going with a sidearm. Got a little too much turn on that, and it kicks off an early tree again. Here's Mike with a backhand. He just shoots it right through that gap. It's going to slide up right to the basket. Mike's going to try to throw a turnover sidearm shot. And it fades just a little bit at the end. Here's Dave shooting for birdie. And he makes it. And Ryan makes his birdie. And Mike will have a drop in. Well, he'll maintain that distance between Ryan with that 6-stroke. I'm sorry, Mike. No, 6-stroke lead over Mike. I'm sorry, Mike has that 6-stroke lead over Ryan. As we move on to the last hole, this is basket 18. This is a par 4, 501 feet. It's going to turn that over a little too much. It's going to go into that vegetation, although it does kick out at the end. As you can hear, the rain's coming down more heavily now. It's been off and on throughout the round. Ryan just throws a bullet. It turns over. Let's see if it rolls out. It rolls out a little bit for him. Here's Dave with his drive. Very low shot.
Good layup.
There's a creek just beyond where his disc landed. It is Obey. And Mike Carmen also turns over a little too much.
All right, that'll work all right.
But he's in a good spot.
I pulled out that same game.
Ryan going with a sidearm shot. He's just going to try to hyzer around everything.
Nice shot.
See how close that gets into the basket.
Oh, I can't believe that. That was pretty awesome job.
Dave just puts that in there perfectly. I'll have his putt for par with that. Here's Ryan with his birdie putt, and he makes it. So Ryan's going to finish the round trailing Mike Moser by 5 strokes. And there you have it at the end of the round. Mike finishes with a 5-stroke lead over Ryan Fredrickson. So he picked up 2 strokes from the beginning of the round. We're going to take a quick break. Don't go away. We'll be right back. And there you have it, the finish at the Ice Bowl tournament here at Ocean County Park, New Jersey for 2018. Mike Moser walks away with an even greater lead at the end of the round that he had going in. His putting was fantastic today. He made no mistakes. He picked up all the birdies he needed to. And he was trailed by up-and-coming player Ryan Fredrickson. Ryan has a big arm, a lot of distance, but it came down to a matter of putts. Mike getting the more putts than Ryan during the round. And it's such an exciting tournament. We hope you enjoyed this tournament. That's all the time we have for this month. And thank you for joining us at Disc Golf Monthly, the show that takes you one step closer to the sport of disc golf.